Hi, everyone. My name is Kirk Bachman, and welcome back to The Ultimate Dish. In today's episode, we're speaking with esteemed chef Curtis Duffy, executive chef and owner of Ever, his latest two-Michelin star restaurant in Chicago. Curtis is no stranger when it comes to building world-renowned restaurants. His previous restaurants include Avenues at the Peninsula Hotel in Chicago, which earned two Michelin stars, and Grace, which received two Michelin stars in its first year and three Michelin stars the next 4 years in a row. Chef Curtis has also won numerous accolades, including the Forbes Travel Guide's 5-star rating, AAA's 5-diamond rating, and he also won the James Beard Foundation's Best Chef Great Lakes Award in 2016. Join us today as we chat with Curtis about his philosophy on cooking, building a brand, charity, and his journey to the top of the culinary industry. Chef, welcome. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm really enjoying the nice sunny weather here in Chicago. It's blistering hot, which is nice because we only get that for a short period of time in the city. So it's been really nice to enjoy that.
You getting outside a little bit and enjoying it, or are you behind the stove all day?
I'm enjoying it on my way to work and on my way home from work.
There you go. Yeah, that's a chef's
It's short
answer,
but it's appreciated. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's I'm flying to Chicago this afternoon, actually. Have a meeting with the team in Chicago. So I haven't been there since this crazy thing called the pandemic. So I'm very, very much looking forward to it. But okay.
Well, if you have any free time and see us.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that. Believe me, I'm going to try to get it onto the agenda. But I have to say, sure. I am so excited to see you. It's been too long, and your success just keeps coming. I'm super honored that you joined us here today. The whole school knows that we're chatting. They're all going to leave my office alone. I'm talking to Curtis. But hey, before we dive into food and you and anything else, I've got to go to motorcycle route. Here we are again on The Ultimate Dish, talking to a great chef who is in love with motorcycles. What is it? It's either music, motorcycles, and food, or all of the above. But you're a big fan of the motorcycle, right? What kind of bikes do you ride?
I'm actually a fan of the music and motorcycles.
Perfect.
For me, I love the cruising motorcycle, of the speed motorcycles. Right now I'm riding BMW S1000, and down in Miami, I have my Harley Wide Glide. So best of both worlds. Really enjoying riding.
Best of both worlds. Nice. Yeah.
Miami is incredible to ride a motorcycle in. The city is really beautiful.
Why is that? Is it just super welcoming? The weather?
It's the weather. It's well-maintained streets.
Yeah. Well, I've got a BMW 650 GS, which is basically a sewing machine on wheels, but I enjoy it. And a little bit of wind is all I need, and just a tiny bit of speed. But I absolutely love it. Well, there's not many who don't know the name Curtis Duffy today, but gosh, before you became, and this has been a while, a household name, a famous chef, and everybody wants a minute of your time. Tell our students and our listening audience, who is Curtis Duffy and where's Curtis from, and where did that love for cooking really stem from? I know a little of the story, but I'm super excited to hear your take.
Yeah, I grew up my first 13 years in Colorado Springs, outside of Columbus, Ohio, and really stepped into a kitchen at the age of 14, washing dishes, doing those, minuscule tasks that a dishwasher would do while they're not washing dishes, peeling vegetables, cleaning fish, those type of things, and really fell in love with the environment. And the instant gratification for me was seeing something that was transformed from a raw state into something that was servable and something that a guest would actually enjoy. So that was always really exciting for me. And, I went on to other restaurants and still had that feeling, that passion, and something just clicked in me one day that I felt like this is really what I wanted to do as a living. And this was my passion. I was really passionate about being in the kitchen, and I couldn't wait for the next day to get back into the kitchen, because it was just a constant learning curve for me. And everything, I just felt like a sponge. I was just absorbing everything around me, and the environments and the people and the techniques and the food. And it was a brand new world for me, something I'd never experienced. That's kind of where I got started in this whole crazy world.
Yeah, it's a great story for students and young culinarians, right? Who sometimes maybe, stand there in the kitchen wondering, oh my gosh, is this going to get better? Am I going to get better? Right. So the passion piece,
Right.
the thing that keeps pulling you back in, right? How do you go from someone who's learning the craft to even, and I know there were stops at, with Charlie and others, but how do you go from, boy, I'm just learning the craft. I'm really trying to, capture this passion. I've got people around me that support me. And then all of a sudden it's, and we'll talk about like what it means, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star to get to that level. There is no higher level than the 3 Michelin stars that are tattooed on your hand. Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So is it, did you read about it? Did you hear about it? Did you know at some point that was the plateau? That's where I had to go. Did it come from some of these other wonderful people that you worked with over the years?
Well, for me, my mindset is you're always learning. And when I started at Avenues, even Michelin wasn't around. And when I started as a young cook, I didn't start cooking because I wanted to garner awards and trophies, or whatever you want to call it, accolades. So that was never my driving force. I think the accolade awards, it's a great thing, and it's recognizing that something great in their field. But if you're driven from that, I think that you're coming from the wrong place. I think it has to be driven from within, and it was never around as I was growing up through the culinary world, until my first year at Avenues, when they announced that they were coming to the city of Chicago. It's ingrained in my head how exciting everyone around me was, that we have this opportunity as a young chef. And when I started at Avenues, they announced that, and I was really excited about where I stood in that whole world of cuisine. I was just getting my voice in the world. And the first year that it came out in Chicago, we were able to receive 2 Michelin stars, and that was an incredible feat. And that just solidified I was doing was what I was supposed to be doing.
And it was very, very well received. So for the audience, you've got 1-star Michelin star, 2 stars, 3 stars, and it's been said different ways, right? 1 Michelin star is kind of worth turning off the road, right, to going to that restaurant. 2 stars, boy, you're probably going to plan to go to that restaurant, and 3 stars means that people wrap their vacation and they mortgage their second homes to travel to that restaurant.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
What's that pressure like? There's tons of books, and you read those stories about the chef who heard a rumor that perhaps they weren't going to get that next star or be renewed the star, and it overwhelms them, right? Can you speak a little bit about the pressure and how you've been able to handle that so well over the years?
Everybody was playing their part. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to do, and with the utmost refinement. And I said to them, if we start changing things and really start nitpicking things, I think it's going too far. I think we have to stay on track and maintain the quality and consistency of what we were doing to get where we are, and continue with that drive and that vision, and not sit back and really try to nitpick everything. And we were talking about putting a piece of china down and just making sure that it was perfectly an inch from the edge of the table, and just going to extreme lengths. And I think that could break somebody. And, as long as we're doing things with passion and love, and everybody has the right goal, it's inevitable that you're going to continue down that path.
it comes
So
together. Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
come together. So as much as I think about, maintaining, I also equally think about what we're doing is right, what we're supposed to be doing. So I don't put a lot of thought into it. Obviously, consistency is my biggest pet peeve, and making sure that everything that we're doing every day is consistently as good as it was yesterday and even better.
Yeah. I've had the honor of dining back in the day at Grace a couple of times. And the way I explain it, or what stood out for me, I should say, is how special it made me feel, and my wife and the team I had with me one time feel, just when we walked into the door, right? It was, it was stylish but comfortable. It felt in a weird sort of way familiar, like I was supposed to be there, right? From the greeting at the door to a comfortable seat while I had a beautiful glass of cucumber water or whatever it was, and I just felt so prepared to then sit down in the theater, if you will, because of the glass windows on the kitchen and the
Sure.
beauty. Oh,
Yeah.
it was just really, really something. You and I have talked a little bit about that over the years. The things you thought about, like the compressors being in a different building so that you wouldn't have that noise in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about, where does that come from? Where does that inspiration? Is that waking up in the middle of the night and writing notes to yourself or texting yourself like, what if we had a kitchen with no noise, just the beauty of beautiful work coming together? Where's that come from, chef?
Well, that comes from many, many years in the business. And, every job that I've taken, I've always tried to take the good and the bad from it. And there's always going to be good and bad in every restaurant. And, if you take all the good and you take the things that what you would change, you put yourself in that restaurant's position, what would you change about it? And, I played that game a lot throughout my career. And I try to teach my young cooks the same thing is, you got to play these games in your head to then ultimately get what you want in the very end, which is your ultimate goal, which makes everyone successful. But that comes from, just being in kitchens long enough and knowing what you want and finding ways to execute it. So if you're talking about like the noise of the compressors of the cooler and let's say the hood fan, those are very loud noises in the kitchen that forces everyone to speak higher than normal.
Mm-hmm,
and now
mm-hmm.
all of a sudden this becomes a very loud kitchen, and it's exhausting on the brain. That's exhausting by the end of the day mentally. So
You can't focus on the
how do we
food.
take
Yeah.
how do we take those things away from the kitchen so then it creates an environment that is more of a, not comfortable, because I don't like the word comfortable, but it is a more of a quiet, at ease situation than this loud noise that's just this white noise in your ear all day long. And you don't really realize it until you leave the kitchen at night and you go, God, that kitchen is loud.
Yeah.
Everywhere I travel, it's the same thing. I'm like, man, it's so loud in here. It's so loud in here because you could literally hear a pin drop in the kitchen at Ever, because the hoods that we've installed it's a green system. So the fans we're able to control. All the compressors for all the refrigeration are outside in a dock area.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
all that noise is gone. You don't hear the fans. You don't hear the compressors kick on and blow the air. And it's just very quiet.
It's just the food.
And
It's
just very important to me because that gives the cooks the utmost focus. They have no excuses. It's just all focus on the food and the task at hand.
Is that all? Is it because it's a big picture? It's not just what kind of plates are we going to use? What type of glassware are we going to use? There's so much involved, and it's clearly part your personality, part your philosophy. It's your name on the line every single day, right?
Every day.
And so you've talked a little bit about where it came from. where it originated. Talk a little bit about your overall philosophy around food and how that manifests itself on every plate that you serve to your guests. How do they get a piece of Chef Curtis Duffy every time something's put in front of them? Tough question. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. That's actually a really easy question because that's my world. So, I start with ingredient. My cuisine is ingredient driven, and my cuisine is oftentimes I refer to as a personality cuisine. Like you said, these are the things that I enjoy eating in the season. These are things that I enjoy cooking in the season. So it's very easy to compose a dish with something that you enjoy eating. Now, I'm allergic to shrimp, so you'll never see shrimp on the restaurant's menu. You'll never see me eating shrimp unless someone does it on purpose. but for the most part, those are things that I enjoy eating, so it's very easily to cook. And the base of the menu starts with the ingredients. So if we're talking ingredient focused, we pick to conceptualize a dish really quickly. We would pick one ingredient, and that's the main element of the dish. Finds 2 to 3 supporting elements in terms of flavor profile. It's really about it. And then we try to take all of those elements and explore them to the max we possibly can, whether it's technique, ways of getting the flavor onto the dish itself. And then that's really where it starts to take shape, and eat it, 90% of the time where it needs. So we're always tweaking it. We'll tweak it. Maybe it needs acid. Maybe we need to take the acid away, touch of sugar. Maybe it needs a textural. Maybe it's too much. We take that away. And then once we get it to a place where we're happy with it, that's when it will menu. But we'll nail it the first try. I can guarantee that. Very rarely do we do that.
Yeah, my takeaways there, you said a few very poignant things, especially for our students that'll listen to the chat. You mentioned technique. You mentioned in the season. That cannot be understated, right? Cooking
Correct.
Within the season. I love that. Sort of in summary, it's kind of start with what you know, right? I think it's super, super interesting that you're building menus around what you're comfortable with, what you know, what you love, and then sharing that with your guests. It's a wonderful way to approach building your menu. When you think about all the young culinarians that work in your kitchens, and those that'll listen to this podcast, and those that'll go to school 5 years from now, what advice do you have, not only about young people today coming out of a pandemic, about our industry, but also for those entrepreneur-minded folks like yourself who may want to run a restaurant of their own someday, or even own a restaurant of their own someday? Any kind of high-level words of advice there?
Yeah, I have lots of them, actually.
Good.
Hire a lawyer, first and foremost. Make sure you're surrounded, obviously, with a great team. But, with anything in life, I've always said that you have a great responsibility to do something great. And it's only your responsibility, and you have to hold yourself to it. No one else is going to hold you to do something great in life, whether that's photography, food sculpture, painting, art, whatever it is. If it's cuisine, then you owe it to yourself to, study and be passionate about it, and have that ultimate love, that love that's, that you would die for, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has to be that strong to really be successful in this business, or in any business, and to be great at something. It takes that level of dedication, and the work ethic is got to be relentless. You have to be willing to give 110% if you expect to get 110% out of something. It's always that saying is, you get what you give, and if you give 100%, you're going to get 100%. So that's, it's got to be within. It's got to be that fire within. Every single day, you have to wake up with that burning desire to do something great. Really, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's strong advice. It's stern advice, but good advice. I'm going to take it back a few years, and I think you'll smile. You don't know that I'm going to ask you this, but Farmer Lee Jones, who's become very, very close to Escoffier over the years, just a delightful individual. And I know that you started engaging with Farmer Lee years ago, and
Yeah.
you were taking your team down to the farm in Ohio, and you were bringing in these unbelievable specialty vegetables. And so where I'm going with that is any comments on your friendship with Farmer Lee, and then let's talk vegetables for a moment too. You've probably seen that, Daniel's gone 100% vegan there in New York with his restaurant.
Yeah.
And any thoughts? First of all, let's talk about Farmer. Is that relationship still there? You guys still chatting now and again? Still using some of his stuff?
Absolutely. I started buying from Farmer in 92, somewhere around there, 91, 92.
Wow.
And, I quickly learned in that moment buying from Farmer. He used to drive down from Cleveland down to Columbus, and that's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. And he would come down there. I believe it was 2 times a week. Maybe it was 1 time a week, but he would bring this amazing product into the restaurant. And as just developing a relationship with him through that time, I realized that the importance of having that relationship with your farmer and fishmonger or forager, whoever you're buying product from. It's an incredible, it's incredibly important to have that relationship with them. And over the years, we've just developed this really great relationship, this great friendship. I respect him as a man. I respect him as a businessman. And as a family man, he's an incredibly generous human being. His whole family, his brother, Bob, his father and his mother, they're just an incredible people. And I've been to the farm many, many times, and I've taken my teams there many, many times. We've stayed there. We've just done research with them. We've done a lot of things with them, and Farmer's just an incredible man.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. And I think the lesson in there too, for those listening, is establishing that relationship with your farmers. So everything that goes on your plate, exactly where it came from. 100%.
Absolutely.
Gosh, so very important. What do you think, Chef, about this this movement towards more plant-centric lifestyles, menus, dishes? Is it something you're seeing a lot at Ever as well?
Well, it's I've said for a long time, it's people are finally realizing, and this is where you can see that Charlie Trotter was so far ahead of his time. This is not new. This is not a new cuisine. It's been around for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. We are as people so slow to catch up to these things and realize these things. But I've been focusing on vegetable cuisine since I left Alinea when I ran Avenues. I had a full vegetable menu. I had a full vegetable menu at Grace. We're talking 15 courses of vegetables. And so it's nothing new. We're just, a lot of people are playing catch up,
Yeah, I love that. It's so well stated. I appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about giving back. You spend a lot of time. I don't know where you find the time, but you have found the time to speak with us, to give back to charities, to volunteer. Can you talk a little bit about the Grand Chef's Gala, your fundraising efforts with cystic fibrosis and all of that? Is this all a labor of love? Is this very personal to you?
As chefs, we're in the hospitality business. We are meant to be hospitable. That's what we do. And any opportunity that we get to give back, we generally say yes. Now, if we said yes to every event everybody that reached out. That's be our sole job would be just cooking for charities, and we wouldn't make any money at all. But we have to set our limits and our budgets every year to be able to give back to what we feel is important. And we would love to say yes to every one of them, but it's not possible. But I think it is important that we find time to give back. It's our responsibility to give back. The community has given us a great opportunity to have in their city and their community, and we need to be giving back. It's important.
Yeah, and we appreciate that you do that. I love that you said chefs are meant to be hospitable. They're in the hospitality industry. That's just really, really profound. What any current new projects that you're working on that you can share? Any sneak peek into what's going on, behind the scenes?
Wow. Let's see.
Where do you start?
What can I say without getting in trouble? We are working on things. I can't tell you exactly what they are, but we are working and have been working for a few months now on new projects, which we're really excited to announce in the coming months. And yeah, I think we looked at ourselves and said, what do we want to do, or what do we need to do? And we're in a great location where development is all around us and we see what's coming. But I think as a restaurant group, it would be foolish to think to ourselves, well, let's just do something we want to do. But knowing what's coming around us, we need to think of what is needed. And that's the only way it helps the city sustain itself and help the city grow. So we're looking around to see, okay, what can we do? What do we need to do? What does this area need that is missing? And that's really what we're focusing on. And that's what we're going to do.
So modest, so selfless. I love that. I love the fact that you use the term "we" as much as you do, because your team is so important to you. And
absolutely,
you've always talked about that. And
hey, I'm just the face of the restaurant. I'm the face of the business, but behind me, an army of people that I count on today, and they're the ones that really make it happen. I mean, their relentless work ethic and their push every single day is what gives me the ability to do what I'm doing now, and gives me the ability to grow the brand, and then give, the opportunity to grow with me. And if I'm standing in the kitchen every single day, peeling vegetables, butchering fish, picking herbs, we don't grow. We just stand still and we have this great restaurant. Well, we want more than that. We deserve more than that. So for me to be able to do that, I have to have some time outside of the kitchen to do all these other things. Otherwise, we stand still.
Yeah, and you and the team definitely deserve that. So really, really appreciate that. So we're getting close to our time. I'm going to put you on the spot. The name of the podcast is The Ultimate Dish. So, Chef Duffy, what is The Ultimate Dish?
Great question. I would have to say, as least as I get it, I think sitting around the dining room table with my family is probably the most important for me.
That's great. That's great.
Having my wife and four children around me, and I'm getting emotional.
It's so appreciated.
Because it's so wanting every day. You want that time with the people that you love, but you're pushing every day in the restaurant, and we do try to enjoy a family meal at least once a week when everyone's around. So that's the ultimate dish.
I appreciate it so much, Chef. The emotion is so honest and so real. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm off to Chicago. I'm hoping to come see you very, very soon. You're welcome. One of our kitchens is named after you. We are so appreciative that you're in the family, part of our advisory board. And thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today to chat with us.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been an honor to speak with you, Kirk, as always. And if you're in Chicago, please, I know you're coming tonight. And if you have 5 minutes to stop by the restaurant, I'd love to see you. It'd be amazing.
We love you so much, Chef. I really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Dish podcast, brought to you by Auguste Escoffier School of Culinary Arts. Visit escoffier.edu/podcast, where you'll find any materials mentioned during the podcast, including notes, links, and other resources. You can always browse other episodes and subscribe.